Hi guys, today I have a 12 by 12 process layout for you. This is a 12 by 12 layout that I'm using all the supplies from a Scraptastic Kit that I received last year in 2015, and I will put below what Scraptastic Kit that is, but I don't have that in front of me right now. I'll put that in the comments below if you guys are interested. It is quite a bit older. I just kind of go through my stash and figure out which kits I want to use based on the pictures instead of just trying to feel like I need to kill a kit. So this is what I do. So like I said, I have lots of kits in my stash and I kind of just pick and choose based on what I'm feeling that day, but I will get that information below so that you have that if you are interested in which kit it is from. And that will tell you all the contents of the kit too. Mostly I am using the papers from the kit, and I'm also using a lot of the Pink Fresh Studio die cuts that came in the kit for most of the layout. So what I'm doing now is I took that pink cardstock and I don't know if I cut a branding strip off of it or not, but either way, it doesn't make much of a difference. I'm just using that pink as my base, and then I'm going to do a little bit of mixed media on that a little bit later, but right now I'm just working on the various pattern papers that are in the kit and layering it up to figure out what's going to work best with my picture. So now I'm going to glue this picture down on top of this paper here, and this is a Scraptastic exclusive paper, and I'm just using the grid to figure out where I want to trim it, and then that way it's nice and straight. And I just kind of like the background, and I think it looked good as a matte. I'm not real fond of the background as a whole 12 by 12 sheet. I don't know, it just didn't do anything for me as far as that goes, but I really like it as a layering piece because you have the different colors that are kind of peeking out from different areas. So now I'm taking this strip of paper that I trimmed out and I'm making a little flag banner with it. And you're going to see a little bit later that the blue stripe banner I have there, and then the little chevron kind of watercolor rainbow pattern that I have in the background, I'm going to actually flip those around and I'm going to switch them up and have the stripes on the longer strip that goes across the page, and then the watercolor chevrons go for the what's called the banner. So now I'm just taking a scrap of that yellow paper and punching it with my Fiskars punch that I got at a garage sale, which is always an awesome find. I mean, you can find this kind of stuff at garage sales. And it just looks like a notebook, so I punched it all out and then I just kind of feathered up the edges so it didn't lay flat and it gave it more dimension. That little frame is from the Pink Fresh Studio die cut pack, and it has gold accents on it. I really like this die cut pack because I'm not sure if they all came with it, but pretty much everything had that gold foiling on it. So I'm going to ink around all of my edges with this Old Rose Prima chalk ink, and we got these in the kit too for if you subscribe over a course of so many months, they give you a free gift. And I think it was if you subscribe the month before, they gave you a freebie in the next month's kit. And I'm not sure if they still do that or not. I do know that for a while they were doing the ink pads, and they were also doing stencils and things like that, and I just don't remember. I can't remember now if they're still doing that, so I apologize, but you can always check on the website to see if they're still doing that. And here is where I'm going to decide that I really like the striped pattern going across the page a lot better than the little watercolor chevron. So I'm just going to take all the adhesive off the back of this, and then I'm going to retape it down, and that's the joy of having those HEG guns. It does really come off well if you kind of just roll your finger over it, and that way if you do make a mistake and you decide that you either put the glue on the wrong side or you don't want to use that side, it's relatively easy to roll that glue off and clean the piece of paper off. So now I'm just inking up the edges, and since I inked them up on the one color side before, I'm just inking up the opposite side. And now I'm going to put some mixed media on the background here, and I'm going to be using gelatos for this, and I'm going to use the packaging technique. So I just have this little piece of plastic packaging, probably from one of the things that came in the Scraptastic kit, and I'm just going to use two different colors of gelatos and add a little bit of water. And the first one's going to be kind of this melony pink color, and then I'm going to also use a green to bring out the green from the colors in the background. Or not green, I think it's more of a blue, I'm sorry. So I'm just kind of semi-putting my pictures down just to make sure where I'm putting the mixed media is where I want it. So I'm going to put it in two different places, in the top right and the kind of the middle-ish left. And so I'm just kind of smushing that around. And then I keep replacing my paper and things like that to make sure I like it. Oh no, I lied, it is green. So I'm going to put this green down just very, very lightly. I'm not going to do a whole lot of it. I just want a little touch of it, and I'm actually going to blot it up with a paper towel so it doesn't show too much on the background. So I just wanted a little hint of that. And so now I'm happy with the way the background looks, and it really does blend into the background a lot. It doesn't stand out a bunch, and that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted a little bit of color, but not something that was really bold in the background, and this worked out perfectly. So now I'm just figuring out where everything should go and then gluing everything down. And those punches are nice. Any kind of punch like that that has a border. I know we have a lot of punches in our stash. I'm sure most of you guys that are listening to this probably have a stash of punches that you probably don't use as much as you should. And this is a great way to add texture and dimension to your pages, is to use these border punches and just tuck in a little piece here and there, and that really does make a big difference and adds a lot of extra dimension without a lot of effort. And that way you can be using up things that you have in your stash, that tools and things like that that you don't use. So I highly recommend you pulling those border punches and things out and trying them out, and I think doing it that way you will feel a lot more accomplished because you're using the tools that you have and not feeling like you have to go out and buy stuff. I know I have been buying a lot of stuff recently. I've been really into the planner whole thing lately, and with Michaels having a lot of new product and new lines, I've been really excited. Michaels for the longest time didn't really have a whole lot of new stuff, but now they have the new boho and the new planner stuff and a bunch of other things that are really fantastic. So I have been spending way too much money at Michaels. So using the tools that you have in your stash is really important so that you're not spending all kinds of money, because I know that I have way more than enough stuff in my stash. So I highly recommend you guys using the stuff that you have, and then that way you can then buy more stuff when that's all used up, instead of just continually buying so much stuff that you're overwhelmed and don't know how to use it all. So now I'm just cutting out some little strips in the bottom. I thought that the top right was a little bit heavy, so I wanted to add something to the bottom left. So I'm going to cut 2 fishtails out of this yellow piece, and then I'm going to utilize the pattern on the chevron piece and just kind of make an arrow pointing into the page. And that's just going to anchor some more of the Pink Fresh Studio embellishments that I'm going to put on the page as well. And down there I'm going to put a gold circle, I'm going to put a star, and I'm going to put a heart up in the top right cluster. And now I'm just inking everything up to make it uniform with the other pieces. And you're going to see me putting that those embellishments and things in just a few minutes. So now I'm figuring out how I want to lay them, and I like the fishtail bannerish piece going on the bottom and then the chevron arrow piece on the top. I think that layers on top of each other nice. That is the star that I'm going to be putting there. And then I'm going to also use a gold circle that's going to go right there with the star here in a second. And I really like these Pink Fresh die cuts. They're really just a really awesome color. They're kind of pastel-y, but they're real rich pastel, and then with the gold foiling, it's just fantastic. So I'm very happy that these were in the kit. And there's that gold circle that I was telling you guys about a minute ago, and I put the gold heart in the top right. And I think that's almost going to do it for the die cuts. I don't think I want anything else. No, I'm not going to add any more die cuts. I'm just going to add that flare in the bottom left. And now you can see my fingers tapping, I'm thinking. So I'm going to start gluing all of my stuff down, just using my ATG gun. And I am going to pop up that banner on some, what is it called, Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. And that just gives some lift to it. I had a lot of flat die cuts and I wanted to give a little bit of dimension to the page. So I just added those Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. They're just thin enough to not be too bulky, but just enough also then to pop it up where it's not all laying flat. I'm going to use some ATG gun on most of the stuff in the bottom. The flare, I'm going to use those same Stampin' Dimensionals because they don't add a whole lot of bulk to the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. The flare. And then the circle, I'm just going to use my Scotch Quick Dry and my fine liner bottle, and that fine liner bottle I got from Hobby Lobby, and I just filled it with the Scotch Quick Dry that I had, and I absolutely love this thing. I have not unclogged a glue bottle and I don't know how long, and that is a good thing. So if you guys are struggling with clogged glue bottles, I would definitely try out one of these fine liner bottles. And now I am going to put the title down. These pink thickers came in the kit. I'm just going to spell out the word joyful with the thickers, and then I am going to add children are with the tile stickers that came in the kit, and they're from Jelly Bean Soup. So I'm going to put those down now, and I'm going to fast forward so you have to watch me put down all these little tiny things. Next, I'm going to pick out some wood veneer from my stash, and there's going to be mostly some, oh no, sorry, I'm going to put these Opal Sea Oats Lindy Stamp Gang splatters down first. Then I'm going to pick out some wood veneer, and the wood veneer are going to be arrows and hearts. And I'm just going to find a couple different places on the layout to add those, and I'm going to mostly add them in the little cluster areas where I have the other Pinkfresh Studio die cuts. So you're going to see me pull that out now. And then once I'm happy with where I want all of the wood veneers, I'm going to use my Stampin' Up! Gold pen, like a marker kind of pen, and color in all those pieces just to kind of mimic the gold that was on the die cuts. So while I'm doing all that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me for another process video. I really enjoy all of your comments that I've been getting lately. I still plan on doing these process videos, some project life, and some plan with me, just kind of depending on my schedule and how things are going. And, you know, with spring coming, it's a little harder because, you know, most people want to be outside. So we'll see how it goes. But I do still plan on making those at least 3 kinds of videos on my channel. If you have not already subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you like the video, I'd love for you guys to give me a thumbs up. I enjoy, like I said earlier, hearing from everyone. So I am just now finishing the layout up. I added some Wink of Stella on the same wood veneer, and now I'm gluing this little triangle piece on the top-ish left of the stripe. Oh, and I forgot to ink it, so I'm doing that real quick. And I thought that just kind of brought some of that color across the page. I thought it was lacking a little bit, and I think that just kind of finishes the layout off pretty well. And I had this little strip of yellow, and I thought, hey, I'll just stick that in here. I won't waste it. And it kind of gives a little bit of an anchor to that heart that is up there in the upper right. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you some close-ups, and I do have some pictures of the clusters at the very end. And like I said, if you have any questions, please leave them below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!